Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play with your host JDS Peters, playing Genshin Impact on the PC. Excuse me. And we're going to be continuing on with Act 7 of the Archon Quest. Sorry, Act 7 of Song of the Welkin Moon, not just a general Archon Quest. Yeah, we're going to be doing the last third, I think, part of it. Can't really quite remember, but I can barely hear anything right now. Let me just crank up the volume. Ah, that's much better. Yeah, let's just continue. I'm on a bit of a timer. Gotta finish this in Act 8 and then jump onto that event. Oh no, what's this stupid thing?
Polonia. Search keyword world formula and bring me all relevant books.
World formula. I think we already did this one last time, so I think it's the one on the left or the one on the right. I think it was this one. Yep. And I'm not even gonna read it. No, I'll still read it. I read it last time, so I don't need to do it again.
This one is on Tonki's sermon dictation concerning the apocalypse. I believe that the correct term for this is Fortuna. This was an ancient Romorian technology, a wisdom unparalleled. I never imagined that Romorian ideas would be so similar to the diagram I have named, the world formula. This is strong evidence that human civilization should gradually shed possibilities as it continues to explore and evolve. The end of humankind may well be upon us right now. The sparks of civilization shall run out unless we consider introducing variables from outside the system. Variables. Surely that can only mean one thing. Descenders? Dottore likely captured the Traveler because of his descender status. But the Three Moons' authority comes from the world itself. Why would Dottore need anything beyond that? Where does this variable factor in? The world formula calculates the fate of an entire world. Introducing a variable would therefore give us... Polonia. Search keyword pathway and bring me all relevant books.
Keyword pathway, did she say? I don't remember what I read, but I'm gonna go this way. Okay, following Guillotine's instructions, the research went well. I feel like I already did this. That's good. Had he continued the line of research, who knows what horrors he might have unleashed. At this stage, we have to pull out. The director says everyone will be given a position in research resources after reconstruction, but I'm afraid if it were me, I would use this as an excuse for a major shakeup. People like me won't get recalled anyway. Never mind. Okay, not this one. Let's check on this side. Okay, I haven't read this one. About the Golden Troop, comparative studies have been conducted on the surviving ruins of ancient orders from across the land. This is researchers' notes of Master Ruggiero. From across the land. While they all had different names, the scripts and images left behind support the conclusion that they share the same origin. Ancient scholars believed that arcane arts originated from pre-Romurian civilization, a belief that now seems to be much more than mere speculation. Fortuna seems to be the name of a symphony. Romurian musicians call it the musica mundana, or mundana, maybe like mundane. Or no, I was completely wrong. Or the music of origin. It's In their eyes, the rise and fall of civilization, as well as the fates of mortals, are all orchestrated by the movements of a symphony, and when a civilization perishes, a new one is always born in its wake. Their philosophical system is complex and enigmatic, bearing almost no relation to modern Fontaine's natural philosophy. However, this is hardly surprising. According to historical records, after Remuria was brought to ruins, the refugees fell under the Locknight. Trying to get this sweater on. Refugees fell under the Locknight Arenias's sway. They willingly forsook their ancient faiths, tongues, and writings, embracing a life of devotion to the gods as our forebears once had. I hinted at the matter of the Golden Hunter in an oblique way, since the Marchose hunters who first pledged themselves to his cause were all descendants of the Locknights. Praising the benevolence of Arenias seemed like the safest approach. Okay, so he or she. I hinted the matter to the Golden. I hinted at the matter to the Golden Hunter in an oblique way, and inquired about his knowledge of natural philosophy from that era. He was silent for about half a minute, then told me not to probe too deeply into those ancient philosophies, saying there was a reason they had been forgotten. Still, as a gesture of gratitude, the Golden Hunter was willing to tell me the names of these patterns. Kind of just looks like a pulley system to me. The seal of chemical marriage. According to him, the symbol is even older than the Remurian civilization itself, and was one of the gifts bestowed on King Remus by the Golden Bee. What exactly those were remains unclear. The rise and fall of empires and civilizations, the ascension of mortals, and the emanation of light. What is this? Even dreams of surpassing the gods. What is this? All of these can be represented by this formula. I cannot understand it at all. He declined to elaborate, and so I can only record these matters here, as they were told to me, in the hope that those who come after might one day decipher their meaning. Okay, keyword not located. I hope it's not this one. Damn it, it is this one. I want to read the other two too. Okay, Atomniki sermon dictation, explications of the chemical marriage. That symbol that was mentioned in the last one. Fundamentally, what the ancient orders designated as marriage was in essence an interpretation of ontologically distinct orthans. As you can see, it is a magic set into motion by to mute every time I'm coughing. As you can see, it is a magic set into motion by the three particles above the kingdom, yet its metaphysical origin lies physical origin lies in the emanations of the four particles beneath the firmament. The alchemists of Chimera are prone to disregard metaphysical sentiment and effect, pursuing instead the goal of the ignorant within the material world. It is for this reason that their crude inquiry cannot be compared to the great undertaking we are to achieve today, one that is founded upon ancient Remurian style theory. Three pertains to appearance, while 4 pertains to intrinsic. 7 obtained through their overlap constitute the number of paths for vertical transcendence. We designate this process of overlap as marriage, for the union of the two through a mediating medium. That sounds stupid. That's an unfortunate pair of words together. Through mediating medium is akin to the matrimonial covenant of those bound in mutual love. Yo, I feel like I'm like getting dyslexic or something. Something's going on. I'm just having trouble reading. Observe and compute the pathway displayed in the guidance diagram. Deconstructing and reversing its effects could generate potential ideas. Nevertheless, there is one thing everyone must keep in mind. Solve the first half of the equation, leave the second unattacked, but you have all oh brother. But you have all in the clear light, and some, though not all, in the dark. This is not because they possess any sanctity that renders them untouchable, but because they offer no benefit whatsoever to the world formula. Only mediocre minds, foolish beyond a certain measure, would actively seek to trespass upon such prohibitions, because in the eyes of the ignorant, taboo and precious are semantically identical. They fail to recognize that in most cases, taboo, like convention, lacks merit for deeper inquiry. Take heed. What we speak of is the act of overlaying your dream upon the dream of gods, of overlaying your law, your will, and the starry sky upon ineffable sacrifices and despair. We do not speak of following emanations to achieve ascension to the ranks of gods. This is... oh, they're talking about, like... interesting. This is a base dream, doomed to perish within an eggshell. What I am to teach you all is the principle of transcendence, the infinite expanse, and the innumerable stars within it. You too must act in this matter, unbound by any constraint. To choose division for the sake of convergence is the necessary path of marriage. At its core, magic is the science and art of effecting change according to the consciousness. Marriage is the instrument through which the art is realized. It is neither the subject that creates the art nor the object that art is created upon. The subject is always and can only ever be consciousness itself. One who is free from the weakness of consciousness bows neither to the gods nor death. Kind of enjoy reading stuff like this. Maybe I should start like a reading stream.
Otonki Sermon Dictation. Explications on the Chemical Marriage. These titles are pretty esoteric. Observe and compute the pathway displayed in the guidance diagram. Deconstructing and reversing its effects could generate potential ideas. So, it's one of Renee's draft lectures. Deconstructing the pathway. I suppose that could lead to a breakthrough.
She ended every
this is so long. This guy sure loves showing off his knowledge.
It is long.
Polonia. Search keyword tree model and bring me all relevant books.
Okay, let's go with which one we gotta see if we can find a way to pick the one that will not end the reading too quickly. Let's try this one in the middle. Relevant mechanical blueprint keyword not located. Okay. Oh, that's tricky. I feel like this is either nothing or it is everything. Neither. Okay. Time Tracker Collected Edition. This is a story from many years ago. After the evening banquet, Miss Aviva, who today would be Lady Nenonen, was as always theatrically grousing to us about the all too swift march of science. Though her grasp on engineering is even less firm than her knowledge of Watatsumi Island's soil quality, and of course she knows nothing about the latter either, but self-proclaimed interest in engineering was in vogue amongst some ladies and gentlemen at the time. This actually sounds like it's something written like from the past. Like I feel like this would be like a letter from the 1940s or something. Interesting. How they managed to keep that tone. Our ancestors had already conquered this land thousands of years ago, she said as she cleared her throat, twirling her jade-plumed and blue gem encrusted folding fan while endeavoring in vain to wear a visage of despondency. And a few hundred years ago, they conquered the oceans with ease using new divine equipment. Today, some noble young folk have suddenly got in their heads to use the so-termed gravimeter to break free from the earth's shackles and conquer the skies. And surely, I fear, their dream may yet become reality in the near future. Indeed, it is just as you say, humans. Ah, what a mighty and energetic species. With such great wisdom, no matter the circumstances, humans ever seek to change their living conditions with unimaginable passion. The Steamboat editor immediately opined, I don't know how to say that word. In truth, when it comes to mechanical engineering in theory, humanity is already on par with the Creator. They have conquered most of the natural world, and by their will, they can shape this world anew. Okay, hold on, let me just see how to pronounce opined.
Opine.
Yeah, I pronounced it right. That's not what I meant to say, Miss Aviva said with an affected sigh. Those distant and dark unknown continents, those ruins hidden deep beneath the seas, all that romantic exploration and trailblazing, such great achievements, that which has put the glorious achievements of our sciences and reasoning on full display, have all but become lost to our civilization. Our forebears reached too high and achieved too much, leaving too little for us to explore or conquer. I feel this, honestly. Could there be a sadder fate to befall those ladies and gentlemen amongst us who were born to crave the exploration of the unknown? Yeah, there's like nothing for like archaeology and stuff like in our world. Like what do you excavate? Everything's done. Because like every plot of land is owned by someone, so really. Anyway. Here, her pretentious invocation of the legendary king Argadies. Words seemed an attempt to prove how truly the state of affairs hurt her. However, everyone simply sat around lazily and at most giving polite nods. Lady L lightly yawned. Seeing how no one answered, Miss Aviva's enthusiasm faded, and she proceeded to switch the topic to next week's ball. This was evidently a more popular topic, and the stiff atmosphere once again grew lively. Monsieur Ratar was just about to regale us with the tale he heard in Sumeru regarding a tower, a mage, and a glass ball, but before he could, Mr. Sirik, who had remained silent till now, interrupted. Good, Miss Aviva. The things you said certainly left an impression on me. He lit a cigarette. However, you need not worry. There is still one space that has yet to be subdued by humanity. Indeed, if the required techniques do not emerge, I fear it will never be. Where's that? Ratar asked, a sullen look on his face. He had been so very confident about his monkey story after all. Time. The room fell silent momentarily before all present broke out into laughter. What preposterous talk, Dr. Reiner declared, trying not to laugh. Firstly, how can time be considered a part of space? Can you separate yourself from time and exist independently in space alone? What do you mean? I mean, to, at this moment, still be I mean to, at this moment, still be speaking to me, and the next disappear without a trace. Is this possible? He waited for a moment, as if waiting for the others to think. Obviously, anyone with the capacity for rigorous thought would know for certain that much like length, width, and height, time is also a dimension of space. As such, it is a part of nature and can thus be conquered. Utterly preposterous, the doctor muttered, but did not refute the statement. I have been involved in research of this sort for some time, he continued, and I have come up with a machine that can allow people to travel through time as they please. The machine will be ready in 2 months at the time. 2 months. At that time, Miss Aviva, I invite you and all the ladies and gentlemen present here to my workshop to bear witness to humanity's next great achievement, the conquest of time. Miss Aviva did not speak. In fact, from her expression, our noble friend did not understand Miss Sirk's words at all. Nice. Oh, there's pages? Why are there pages? Oh, wow. I might have made a boo-boo. 2 months later, the Steambird editor, the doctor, Mr. Ravillo Oliver, and others who had attended that evening banquet came to Sirk's workshop as agreed. Miss Aviva was not there, for she never had much interest in such things, but instead found more meaning in attending a social ball at Salon Caritat. Surprisingly, Sirk had grown older and more frail in just 2 months. In the dim light of the lamp, his once enthusiastic, arrogant expression had hardened into something indifferent and solemn, almost like a emaciated ascetics, like the emaciated ascetics of Sumeru. He welcomed us to take our seats, speaking in a calm tone. Well then, how's your plan to conquer time progressing? The Steambird editor asked directly. Where is the time machine you spoke of? Sirk did not reply. Instead, he pointed at the desk next to him. Our gazes followed, and in the middle of the table was a gold-plated whale-shaped model airship about the size of a small clock. Even a non-professional eye could readily discern that the model was of exquisite craftsmanship. Beneath its clear crystal shell and I'm having trouble breathing. Beneath its clear crystal shell, an indistinguishable and formless color flowed ever so slowly, glowing faintly in the lampshade's shadow. So the doctor said, it took you 2 months to make this little toy that would amaze even Lepot's artisans? It certainly looks like nothing special, Sirk said, an inscrutable emotion shining in his eyes that could almost be called pity. But this is simply a projection the object has left in this moment, just as one can only see a thin line when viewing paper from the side. Blithering nonsense. For some reason, Sirk did not refute that statement, merely asking us in a calm tone to hear him out concerning his time travel experiences. We agreed, and so he began to tell the story. I shall now relate below without interruption from beginning to end. There will be interruption because I need to cough and breathe. For all of you, it was 2 months ago when I first told you of the idea of a time machine. Similarly, it must have been a week ago when I finished constructing said device and stepped into it, initiating the very first instance of time travel in human history. The strange sensations that came over me as I traveled through time are beyond words, just as there are no words with which one can impress the star's brightness upon a blind person. About 20 minutes after this, though describing time travel by using subjective time is quite meaningless, the machine ceased operation. I looked about me then and realized I was in a Remurian imperial settlement. The grand temples and arenas carved of titanic stone would make the opera Epicles hang its head in shame, while the creations of Alain Guillotin, Alain Guillotin, would be little more than a child's wind-up toy before the towering Lemurian golems. Just as I was beside myself in awe, a few patrolling troops discovered me. Seeing my strange style of dress, they took me to be a spy for the barbarian tribes. They seized me, naming me a lowly slave and a degenerate believer in a false god, and threatened to throw me into a deep cistern to feed the vipers. Fortunately, the local Adal, I don't know what that is. Let's check it out. Adal. Roman Republic magistrate responsible for maintaining public buildings, temples, aqueducts, roads, supervising markets, ensuring grain supply, and staging public games. Okay, so like an official or a coordinator type of person. I later found out that her name was Aida Anavana. Realized that my identity was anything but ordinary and had me sent before her. She endured my calamitous grammar and catastrophic accent. At the time, I could not even pronounce Remuria, with it coming out something more akin to Emuia. While asking me many questions which I answered truthfully, quickly she accepted the fact that I was from the future and showed me a stone slate that the slaves had recently dug up. The slate was a perfect square, each line and column engraved with 7 symmetrical sequences of symbols. These were not Remurian script, but rather the characters we use today. Regardless of the manner in which the text was read, or the order or direction, the information within the text did not change. It was an elaborate riddle involving dogs, pastures, cyan finches, the summer rains, the song of the roses, the Rijboland tiger's stripes, and the ordered patterns of rocks. Despite my long-time love of wordplay games, this endless cycle of riddles made me terribly dizzy. For some reason, I knew that I must solve it no matter the price. I spent half a year doing so alongside Idea. And as it turned out, the key to deciphering it lay with the name of a slave now 30 years dead, while the answer was a date set several hundred years after the empire's fall. I bade Aida farewell and stepped back upon the time machine, forwarding myself to that date in hopes of finding the secret behind that stone slate. There I met several Marchose hunters, and they showed me another stone slate which again had 49 mirrored characters on it that formed another riddle. Again, the answer was a date, one set in a future still further off. Following these stone slates' directions, I crisscrossed the fabric of past and future, shuttling back and forth 13 times. Each stone slate's riddle was trickier than the last. One of them could only be cracked using a bad romance novel that would only be published 300 years hence. The 5th word of the 37th page of that book would form a conjugate with the full name of the 375th Maison Gardiennage officer from 375 years ago. Another riddle cipher was based on a white flower that will only bloom several millennia in the future. I know not its name, and its pistil structure is very strange indeed. It might be a mallow of some sort. Pistol, I've never heard that before. Oh, seed bearing. Okay. It might be a mallow of some sort, but I cannot be sure. That flower is nourished by skylark calls, and so one of the clues to its cipher was the number of ribs on a skylark during Lemurian times. I suppose that is, generally speaking, just how the riddles worked. The final stone slate came from the underground storeroom of the Basil Elton Memorial Museum and had not but one number on it, 0. I do not know what I was thinking at the moment. After all, setting my destination to 0 is an action utterly devoid of meaning. But I punched the number into my machine all the same and pulled the control lever. Tomato, tomato. After who knows how long the machine stopped, I sensed that I was floating atop a sea with no waves or tides. for even the wind did not exist at that moment. The sky that loomed overhead was not blue, but a dark red adorned with countless stars, pale and distant, like salt frost, lining the shore. I stared at this very first of oceans, transfixed, and several minutes passed before I realized that there was something shadowy hidden beneath the placid surface. It was the Palais Mermonia, which should not be there. Okay, at that moment I could hear someone call me by name. Nevin Cirque, the voice called. I turned and it was like looking into a mirror, a man identical to myself looking me dead in the eye just as I did to him. Nevin Cirque, he continued. You wish to conquer time, no one can do that. It was you who left those riddles behind. It was you who left those riddles behind? It was you who left those riddles behind. He repeated my question as if it was an answer. Those riddles are part of time, and every matching symbol is time itself. So the final answer to the riddle of time is 0. 0 is not an answer. Instead, it is another mystery for the answer cannot be found in the riddle, he said. The answer to time's riddle is a mirror. Or perhaps I should say that this is the answer that is simplest to comprehend. When two mirrors face each other, time is the infinite reflection of light therein. Countless diverging, converging, and parallel lights form the illusion we call time. There's no past or future, for the past is the future. As you stand here at moment 0 and look forward along the gap between the two mirrors, all beams of light fall along the same plane and not one may escape. The Palais Mermonia, I don't know how to say that, had already sunk long before it was ever built, and the sunken palais will be raised anew. Joy, sorrow, tears, and death must infinitely recur, for this is the nature of a mirror. Similarly, you can never conquer time, just as you can never grasp your shadow in your hand. Perhaps it was horror or momentary frenzy, but when he finished, I whipped out the firearm I kept for self-defense, leveled it at his head, and pulled the trigger. Wow! He just blew his own head off. The room was silent. I do not expect you to believe me, Cirque said as he stood up, his eyes sweeping the room. Just take it as a bunch of bunk that I made up to cover up for my inability to make a time machine. Make of it some lame tale, a dream born purely of delusion. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, I shall take my leave of you. My future self awaits a riddle that I must set him. He's going to his death? I never saw Cirque Nevin again. What the heck? Is he even recorded in the Genshin wiki? That was worth the read. I like that. Time Trekker, Cirque Nevin. Oh, looks like he's part of he's in a book collection. He's in a book collection found in Fontaine. It's called Time Trekker. Ha. Wow, they had a callback to that. That's pretty interesting. Damn. Blew his own head off. That's insane. Okay, it's probably gonna be this one. Or just irrelevant. Okay. Would it be this one or would it be the one covered by his gun? The one covered by his gun. Good, I knew it. It's not this one. More pointless reading. The ocean gave birth to all, yet also devoured everything. Legend has it that in the first era, the earliest peoples were self-supporting in their virtue, needing no laws or authorities. What's this one called? The History of the Decline and Fall of Lemuria, Collected Edition. The envoys of the heavenly city walked the earth, and with their guidance the people enjoyed enduring peace, prosperity, and abundance from the ancient days. This heaven-blessed reign lasted countless generations until people grew tired of their inscrutable eternity. Their offspring ceased to listen to the oracles, and instead they desired things never promised to them by the divine. Trying to break free from their fate, enraged by their behavior, heaven sent gigantic waves to smash the settlers' cities. 100 days of rain came afterward, and the roaring tides drowned all sin and arrogation, and thus were the early peoples brought to an end. When the tide receded and the earth was revealed again, no cities nor civilizations now stood above the high waters. Survivors and the newborn alike lived amidst the forests and rivers shorn of all knowledge and wisdom. Human lives were no different from those of wild animals on the earth or in the sea, driven on by the laws of nature, muddling through time with neither beginning nor end. This is not as good as the last one. Untold years passed, the throne of Gurbad was established and overturned in the far south, and the noble kindred of the east once reached the rim of the high waters, all while our ancestors remained bound by ignorance and superstition. Civilization and order were finally restored to the land named Fontaine, the day the great king Remus descended upon Meropis in his golden fortuna. He taught people how to farm and raise crops in the land and build temples and cities with giant rocks to house the people. Most importantly, it was he who spread the beauty of music and art, which differentiated humans from other living things, causing them to see themselves as masters of all things. With his immortal fleet, Remus conquered all the land on the high waters. Even the great dragon beneath the abyssal depths submitted to his power. Those were the best days since the end of the earliest peoples, and eternal prosperity seemed so near at hand. The God King and his people indulged in the sweet dreams of carefree lives and fantasies of never-ending progress. However, the seers prophesied discord. The greatest empire will face the most utter destruction in this, and this is Fortuna. Thus did the God King derive the primordial plan from the 7-day rotation and the flowing winds of sea and land, and composed a harmonious symphony of prosperity. He believed that so long as all the cities echoed with this greatest of songs, they would escape the judgment of fate and at last reach the land of eternal bliss. But thusly do the ancient writers concur. Oceans will rise, empires will fall, and the only constant is change. Greatness and glory unto Remuria, it's so hard to say, and its immortal ruler, Remus, king of all under heaven and universal harmos. Today, the glamour and luxury of the bygone eternal city is beyond the imagination of even the most knowledgeable scholars. As you sailed past the ocean pillars along the royal fairway to the giant port playing host to Fortuna, the imperial ship, you would have first seen a lofty tower. The Tower of Remuria was not built to receive heavenly oracles, but to guide ships traveling between islands in the high waters. It is said that the tower stood at the border of reality and dreams. Even if sailors were to be lured into slumber by sirens, they could follow the sound of the bell to break through the mist and find their way to Remuria. Continuing along the royal fairway leading to Machimos, where the brave Remurian warriors lived, the grand temples and arenas were built with giant carved rocks to commemorate the city's glory and victory. The solid and towering walls are decorated with glaze and gold, bronze, and marble statues arrayed the land. Glaze and gold, bronze and marble statues arrayed the land, and gold, spices and specialties from all over piled up in the markets. Traveling through Machimos, you would arrive at Capitolium, the center of Remuria, overflowing with delightful aromas and beautiful melodies. It was a paradise for artists where only the most outstanding intellectuals and musicians were allowed. Even among them, however, only a small fraction enjoyed the privilege of serving the God King. Here all the theaters and palaces were established in shapes most harmonious, their beams and domes adorned with the most sumptuous and intricate carvings, and centered on a golden palace of towering copper pillars. Yeah? Such a long sentence. Wrong. It's such a wrong. Okay, the king resting peacefully at the heart of the palace listened closely to every melody. Listened closely to every melody and every note coming from every corner of the empire. Upon hearing a discord, the God King would correct it immediately with the pluck of his strings, bringing perfection to the symphony of his empire. To keep all the people upon the high water from destroying the symphony of universal harmony, the King Remus promoted 4 humans of great capability to high post. He shared his power and authority with them, making them his partners in governance. The Harmos for all cities, to eliminate all discordant sounds. To spread the harmonious symphony throughout the world, he built far-reaching fairways, which conveyed the melodies as never-ending ripples from Capitolium to every corner that sat above the high waters. Yet fate's decree was not for even such as gods to defy, and to even attempt to escape destined judgment was a mortal sin. Amongst the God King's sins, the most terrible was the attempt to pass power that should have been reserved for the godly domain to humans. Thus this power and status led to corruption and decadence, leading to violence and revolts. Such is fate's cunning that it uses the very powers that rebel against it to its own ends. When the day of destiny arrived, Remuria, the grand immortal city, faced an inevitable end. Today the God King's melody is played only in Capitolium, and his mighty reign has ended. Thusly do the ancient writers concur. Oceans will rise, empires will fall, and the only constant is change. Humans in their naivete once believed that the reign of the King Remus and his eternal city would surpass time and fate to last thousands of years, just like the giant rocks comprising the ringed ritual sites. Until that day when the earth collapsed all at once, the tower was uprooted and drowned in the titanic waves alongside the great hall of pillars. Until that day when the royal fairways and temples were reduced to ruins, and the city, along with its residents, warriors, intellectuals, nobles, and even the golden palace, as glamorous as the shining sun, fell into a chasm of eternal darkness. That was the moment when the absurdity of their eternity finally dawned on them. Glory to our noble navigator, the ruler of rivers and seas, and the queen of all waters. May she defend law, and may her reign be long. Peace upon all the realms of Fontaine and all the people under the heavens. When the city collapsed, the great power shattered, and the people above the high water were perched on the precipice of barbarism and annihilation. It was her when the royal city collapsed. It was our noble queen who settled the conflicts between the tribes. Around the flowing springs, we established cities new and started a world guided by laws that has endured to this day. The tragedy of Remuria occurred merely a century ago, but its history has already become concealed in legends and superstitions. This does partly come down to the fatal catastrophe that destroyed it. So ruthless and swift was the disaster that all the researchers and literature capable of passing down said knowledge now sleep beneath the waters with the eternal city. Another key reason is the purposeful distortions created by the mysterious researchers who claim to be descendants of Remuria. My job is to extract and reproduce the true essential shape of this magnificent ancient civilization with the universal rationality of history. In certain folklore that exists today, even the greatest of ancient scholars have been painted as soul-stealing magisters who entrapped mortal spirits within specially made magical golems, binding them into service. To be sure, the Remurians did make such terrifying golems, which to this day may be found ruined out in the wild. But this may only be blamed upon the moral degeneration that came upon them in Remuria's latter days. Its people had forsaken their noble duties and embraced hedonism and debauchery, accepting the violence they inflicted on others, and thus were they also violently destroyed. Just as the ancient writers concur, oceans will rise, empires will fall, and the only constant is change. Keyword not located. Did we do that one? I think we did. Oh yes, it should be this one. It is not. Wow. Impressive. Was the one in the middle? Chapter 7. The biography of Gyotan, Deluxe Edition. Gyotan in his later years. No one can know the root cause of every incident in the world. Humans are neither wise enough to predict the future nor able to stop unfortunate accidents from occurring. It's a shame there's nothing more to say. Alain Gyotan is in response to a question about his early years from Nellie Cochran, chief editor of the Steambird. After retiring from the Fontaine Research Institute, Gyotan declined all invitations from the Palais Mermonia and civic organizations from the court of Fontaine. Instead, he withdrew to the Barrow region countryside, living in near total isolation from society. Notwithstanding, even prior to this, the reclusive old man had never formed any deep connections with others. If you were to take Madame Nellie Cochran at her word, then Alain Gyotan was at heart a lonely shut-in, always burdened by a profound sense of insecurity. It was for this reason that he maintained a detached attitude toward others, as if pretending to be unperceptive. He could hide the keen sensitivity of his spirit. He could not ease his own pain nor share it with anyone. All he could do was enclose it like a pearl within the shell of his heart, shaping and polishing it with his very flesh and blood. Of course, Gyotan's students would not accept such claims, dismissing them as attention-seeking nonsense and nothing more than a smear on their master's reputation. This was the main reason why Roger Coates, the third director of the Fontaine Research Institute, filed a lawsuit against the Steambird. He never employed any servants to tend to his daily needs. There were rumors that in his youth he had created a mechanical device capable of independent thought, and had used it to assist him in his work with Marianne Gyotan at the Marechaussee Phantom. As a result, he had no need for servants. He only needed to create more of the same device. However, such claims were clearly at odds with the facts. The personal effects that Gyotan left behind after his death include nothing of this nature, and so-called mechanical devices capable of independent thought are entirely inconsistent with the ideas he expressed in his manuscripts, as he wrote in Hierarchical Calculating Machines and Intelligence. The real question isn't whether machines can think, but whether humans can. Fontaine Natural Philosophy and Engineering Science Press, 3rd edition, section 13, page 5. We have every reason to believe that whatever contraptions Gyotan crafted in his workshop in his later years were deliberately destroyed long ago. After all, it's hardly common for an engineer to discard their designs. Popular fiction has offered many flights of fancy about these contraptions. Yet all such tales contradict the surviving evidence. Nevertheless, we must recognize that as a cultural symbol, Alain Gyotan's posthumous work, pretty sure it's pronounced that way, has been instrumental in stirring the imaginations of the young. Okay, I guess it's gonna be this one in the middle. Oh, it's actually this one, the one all the way in the corner? No? What the heck? Did I not scan this one? This one doesn't have it, this one has nothing. Did I thought I scanned. Oh, okay, it's this one. I didn't touch this one. Great Detective Herlock the Alchemist and the Clockwork Saint. Chapter 6. So the story ends like this. Herlock sat down and lit his pipe, but the rest of us, whether it was Agent Gina, Miss Yakoba, or the Commissioner, Miss A. Shie, looked at one another in confusion. You must still remember the locations. I still remember that the locations of the 4 previous cases were equidistant. There was a symmetrical pattern between the time, space, and even the first letters of the 4 victims' names, Herlock said. This is also why Gina's deduction was completely off the mark. The murderer knew that she, possessing basic knowledge of the mystic arts, would assume that the followers of the Liacruce Ordo, I don't know how to say that, would treat the patient as a necessary ritual sacrifice, so the culprit let her believe that her assumption was entirely correct. But when Duke Saint-Germanis departed, he clearly said that everything was beyond redemption, and the next case would also. Agent Dina protested somewhat reluctantly. He's only a genius when it comes to mechanics, and everything else he's just an ordinary person. Herlock paused, then continued. He's always been the type to like things he can fully understand, just like you, Gina. Ah, I get it. Mr. Koba shouted suddenly. My dear Herlock, now everything's crystal clear. The 4th victim's death wasn't a carefully planned murder, it was pure coincidence. He only wanted to kill those 3 unfortunate gentlemen to avenge his comrades from the Liacruce Ordo. But the traps he set weren't limited to just those 3 locations. He was worried that the plan might fail, since the 3 victims were all well-protected figures, after all. So he added a few extra traps, yet he never expected that with Gina's interference, the plan would go far more smoothly than intended. Monsieur Koba, please don't speak as if I were the accomplice. Agent Gina's face turned as red as a sunsettia as she protested indignantly. How adorable. Indeed, Herlock said calmly. It was unclear whether he meant that Monsieur Koba's deductions were correct or that Agent Gina was indeed an accomplice. Most of the experimental devices proposed by the Liacruce Order are built based on simple, basic tree model logical structures. They do not recognize their own masters, following only the commands they were initially given, so they end up killing said masters. This is why I keep saying, don't put too much trust in Clockwork Mecha. Unlike humans, machines have no heart. I remained silent as usual, but Miss Jacoba glanced at me with what seemed like a hint of puzzlement. What's wrong? Why are you standing there in silence? Is there something on your mind? No, I just didn't expect the truth to be so simple. Of course, my understanding of Clockwork Mecha cannot compare to that of the Saint-Germanis, but I've done a bit of research to suggest that those mechanisms were merely activated by Mr. Marcello's mishandling seemed a bit too contrived, but to imply that there was another mastermind behind it all felt like stretching into territory of conspiracy theories. After all, no one besides us could have pulled off the operation I envisioned. So I decided to abandon further speculation, choosing instead to enjoy the reactions of the adorable Agent Gina. This is why you don't understand deduction. Agent Gina seemed to have regained her confidence, not to mention her mild sense of superiority over me. Excitedly, she raised a finger. Isn't there a saying that goes something like, when you have eliminated the impossible, what remains? However, stop right there. That's Fanto something mess Rob something's story. We don't have the publishing rights from their publisher. Herlock took another drag of his pipe. He seemed to be lost in thought once more. Regardless, this case came to an abrupt close. A person who did not manage to witness the end, a person who did not manage to achieve his ideals, a person who indulged in fairy tales, who dreamt of following the hero he admired, yet never saw his dream fulfilled. Someone who had everything, someone who lost everything, someone who woke up, someone who would never wake again. Unstinting in sacrifice, unflinching in farewell, undaunted by pain. Yet in the end, the sacrifices remained only sacrifices, the partings remained only partings. Clocks ticking through tranquil years, fish swim in crystalline springs. I'm falling asleep. Whoa. No matter how grand a dream is, it will fade away like this, forlorn, wordless, silent, and after that. Okay. Wow, that took forever.
Most of the experimental devices proposed by the Lilia Crucis Ordo are built based on the simple and basic logical structure of a tree model. Lilia Crucis. Guess they were trying to cover up the name of the Nautitzenkreuz Ordo? When Duke St. Germanus departed, he said, "It seems that there's no going back." Alas, he is only a genius when it comes to machines. In all other things, he is but ordinary. Excuse me? I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous. What kind of book is this? Great Detective Herlock, the Alchemist and the Clockwork Saint? Isn't this a novel? Come on. Still, the author swears that they knew Renee well. Whatever. I guess it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Renee would say nonsense like that on occasion. Memory, wishes, souls, and persona. Frankly, this sounds more like occultism, but if Albedo vouches for it, I suppose there must be some alchemical basis to these techniques. The way Alain Guillotin saw it, the world was comprised of machines. The universe needed machines, and thus his technologies were created. That's why I was born. René, his full name was René de Petrichor, if I recall correctly. Sounds like he and the town must be intricately connected. That place was also the source of most of our information regarding Remurian civilization. Seems like some of his projects were based on their technology. The cutting of souls and storing them in vessels. These seemingly unrelated techniques underpinned René's research. Assuming that the 4 orthants correspond to alchemical categories. The chemical marriage model? Alain would have scoffed at that. He never would have let those theories or parameters anywhere near his mathematical formulas.
Oh no, looks like we need more.
What was Alain's view on René? I know he mentioned the name, albeit very rarely. Oh, now I remember. Alain's old notes are here too. They mentioned René once. René seemed most out of sorts when he spoke to me. A lack of sweet foods has dulled his mind, I should think. Either way, his words are not to be believed. Yep, that sounds like Alain. My subordinates actually did a half-decent job digging out all these materials. Makes a change. Good for them. Some of Alain's old files are completely consistent with these records. He must have gotten them from the Tower of Gestalt. I never knew he got his hands on René's records that early. He may have kept them, but he never even attempted to use them. Didn't believe a word they said. Come to think of it, René's world formula was filled with calculations of constants. That shows he believed that the fate of the world to be predetermined. As for Alain, it's been too long. I forget what he said. What would he have said? A guy like him, fervent believer in machines, but not headstrong enough. The world can be changed. It is worth persevering. Yes, that's how he used to think at least. He created that procedure to save this world. Yet the scale of the world's fate proved too enormous. The result was beyond his ability to calculate. He died having never seen the outcome. And there I was, left behind in the ashes of his dreams.
So she was created by Alain Guillotin?
Did you really never take a close look at René's research? Or did you read it but deem his philosophy incompatible with your model? The very thought of trying to incorporate his ideas probably made you feel sick to the stomach. Well, don't worry, because there's a whole new category of lunatic in town. Next to Dottore, every other madman looks sane. You once asked me what I wished for. Should have asked him instead. He's the one pining for things you'd sooner die than witness. Even the tiniest variable can make big waves in the present. Now then, Allow me to put these incompatible fragments together in your stead. First, establish and verify the existence of the Great Circle. Absolute nihil on one end, absolute reality on the other. Now, search between these two extremes. Then, the construction criteria. Variables. The sparks of civilization shall run out unless we consider introducing variables from outside the system. Input variables. Traverse the world, space-time, and civilization. Then extract the essential nodes from the records to determine which variables they point to. The primordial power that differentiated itself from the void. The power of light. Yes. Records. Hyperborea. This is so horrendously complicated. After all that, I'm still missing a few variables. I need to think this through again. How do you think it looks, Polonia? Like the frenzied scrawlings of a madwoman? Fine, keep it to yourself. It's not like you can talk anyway. I'll assume you gave it a passing grade. I jest. But true madness does often start with trying to save the world. What would Arlecchino and Columbina think if they saw this incomprehensible hen scratch? They'd probably have me institutionalized. So would Rosaline. She's been dead for a while now. When I close my eyes and think back, I can still see her face. And that enormous dress she used to wear. Such a bizarre choice. What possessed her? Oh, and the clack-clack of those heels used to drive me insane. No one's asking me, obviously, but I hope you all know that I never wanted to save the world. I'm not crazy. I don't have delusional ambitions, and that's a clinical fact.
Who's she talking to?
The world needs a solution, but I don't need the world's validation. It's the world begging me for answers, not the other way around.
They're gonna make me physically do this? What a terrible waste of time. Wow. This could just be done automatically or just in a text line, but this is a ridiculous quest flow. Like, why? Oh my gosh. They just keep doing this. It's not something that's gonna pop. I'm not gonna have to fight a boss by making tea. Oh my gosh.
Oh, cookies to go with the tea. Let's see. They must be from that person who brought those documents. I see they're from Hotel de Boer. Something's written on the box. We are proud to present this homage to the Fortress of Meropede's fun-filled mill collection system. Fortune cookies. Have a lucky start to your day. Sounds like a dumb gimmick to me. Be early to bed and early to rise. Get plenty of sun and drink plenty of water. Then things will surely go well for you. What? Are you kidding me? Somehow I doubt that an early night and a glass of water is magically gonna save a world on the brink of existential peril.
This took an hour, just that library section, not the library section, the research section, an hour. Is that... Yeah, I did read those notes, but
Lady Arlecchino, word has reached us that Lady Marionette's troops are all in position. They are ready to act as soon as the order is given.
I did read all those notes, but I mean, that should be... that should be factored into, like, how long of a quest you output, right? To your customers? Like, damn.
Excellent.
The only thing is, They are fewer in number than we expected. It looks like many of them must have lost their lives at the hand of the monsters released by the Doctor.
Can't be helped. Allow them to join our ranks, and keep in contact.
As you wish.
Yeah, before we continue here, let me just go grab a snack real quick. Back. Meet up with Child. Oh, Child is here.
It's been a while, Arlecchino. You look well. Did Dottore really have to build his lab right on the sole path between Snezhnaya and Nodcry? Had to go on a huge detour to stay out of its line of sight.
Sounds like an arduous journey. I assume you've brought word from Her Majesty?
Of course, all part of the job. Firstly, the Tsaritsa has authorized Fatui Internal Affairs to review Dottore's case. They will reach a formal verdict on whether he has turned traitor and whether he poses a threat to Snezhnaya. While they're working on that, I've been ordered to come and receive the refugees from Nodcry.
They are nearby. My team will escort you to them shortly.
One sec, one sec. And we go. Let's go.
Great. Aside from that, Her Majesty has a message for you and Sandrone personally. Huh? Where is Sandrone?
She stayed behind to work since I was making the trip anyway. It seemed sensible to have one person on standby at base while the other came out to meet you.
All right, guess that's just how she rolls. In that case, tell her that the Tsaritsa's decree this time is pretty awesome sounding. I think she'll like this one. Still, I wonder what... Wait, what's that? Did one of our troops turn into a monster?
Take him out. Laid bare.
Riptide!
This is where you fall. Transfixed.
You've gotten stronger, Arlecchino. Nice.
Stop that right now. I appreciate the praise, but I'm not fighting you today.
I knew it.
Overruled.
Brace yourself. This is gonna hurt. Yeah. I can't believe it. He was a living, breathing human one moment, and the next...
Another fine piece of work by our dear colleague, I'm afraid.
What in the world has been going on in Nodcry?
A lot. But long story short, Dottore stole 2 moon marrows that should have belonged to Columbina, then built a 3rd moon marrow of his own to concentrate the Trilunar Authority in his hands.
What? What do you mean he built a moon marrow? People build roads and houses, not moon marrows. What's his next DIY project? He's gonna build a god?
You could stand to be less surprised. We are harbingers. The work we are engaged in makes the creation of gods seem mundane by comparison. I tell everyone who asks that you once crossed swords with Rex Lapis while serving as a key supporter for Rosaline's plan. But right now, you're acting like a common adventurer.
Thanks for speaking up for me. Those 2 really took me for a ride back then. Then again, surely no common adventurer would manage to get tangled up with them the way I did. That's gotta count in my favor, right?
It almost sounds like you wish to repeat the experience. I might have to lower my opinion of you.
No. I'll stop talking. Please, go on.
Dottore is currently still experimenting with his newfound power in ways that continue to corrode the outside world. As for the human mutation, I believe this is simply a consequence of his experiments, and not a strategic move. That radiant beast was once a subordinate of Sandrone's. I suspect he was only allowed to live so that he could become an experimental subject. Also, those of us who fought Dottore have been afflicted with a curse. As such, I cannot leave Nodcry.
This is so much worse than I thought. No wonder Her Majesty's decree is so extreme. While these exceptional circumstances persist, the Harbingers are hereby authorized to use unilateral executive powers. Should Dottore pose a threat, Arlecchino and Sandrone are permitted to eliminate him.
My thanks to Her Majesty. I will pass these good tidings on to Sandrone.
Her Majesty has also declared that she will refrain from launching an attack on the now evacuated Nodcry due to the presence of unretrieved research material.
A wise decision.
By the way, how's my old partner doing? I'm assuming they're with you?
Partner? You mean the Traveler? I'm afraid I have bad news. He was captured after our failed assault in Dottore's lab. His whereabouts are currently unknown.
What? Why? Since when does Dottore have a bone to pick with him?
That is indeed the question. I'm not sure he does. He must have some other goal in mind.
Why does it feel like the second time Child's involved in our rescue? I think the first time was in Fontaine. My memory's a little bit hazy on that, but I remember having to play as him. And then he showed up fighting a whale, right? So, they seem to like that plot thread.
This won't do. I have to rescue him.
See?
You can't. We have no idea where the Traveler is.
What am I supposed to do then? Stand here twiddling my thumbs?
Sandrone is working on it. The best thing you can do right now is complete your mission.
Fine. I guess I'll leave this to you then.
One last thing. Tell the Rooster to get the message out to the gods and citizens of every nation in Teyvat. Beware. An uncontrollable pollution is spreading forth from Nodcry. The source of that pollution is a madman drunk on the success of his experiments. The Fatui and our allies will endeavor to contain the threat. However, if Nodcry falls, things are likely to escalate. Considering Dottore is one of our own, all Fatui stationed in Nodcry consider it our duty to stay and fight him to the bitter end. Whatever the cost.
Hey, don't be too pessimistic. If it comes to it, I'm sure Her Majesty won't stand by and do nothing.
I hope you're right.
You're right on time.
Thanks. Hey, do you think I'll get that gliding exam exemption? I made sure I was on my best behavior in Mondstadt. I landed well outside the city and walked in through the gates.
I'll help you apply, don't worry. For now, let's see what we have here.
What are the doctor's energy fields even made from? The usual attract and repel principles that govern Kuvaki don't seem to apply to them.
They are very mysterious, but ultimately, they appear to be comprised of energies from the three realms. Thanks to research by Master and the Hexen Circle, we know that Teyvat's 7 elements are derived from the more primordial power of the Light Realm, which is antagonistic with the power of the Void Realm.
Okay, I got munchies. I'll be right back. And we're back.
Since you have the power of the Dragon Durin within you, I'm sure you can already tell that this energy field contains no abyssal energy.
That's true. It's not abyssal energy. It's something pure, wild, and untamed.
I've been thinking about something. Do you still remember the device that Dory supplied from the Academia when you and Miss Columbina fought Raria? That was one of the most marvelous feats of ingenuity I've ever seen. The design, the craftsmanship, the material selection. I couldn't fault any of it. Not to mention the operating principles. Surely the most ingenious feature of all. Dory didn't go into detail on how it functions, but I have a working theory. The clue was that Miss Columbina was somehow able to use the pyro energy that you provided, despite the fact that, as a moon goddess, she should only be able to use light realm energy in principle. Now, all elemental energy is, of course, derived from light realm energy to begin with. Hence, I suspect that the device works by restoring elemental energy to its original state. This presumes a theoretical model of the 7 elements akin to that of light refracted through a prism. Perhaps it is no mere analogy. Maybe there is indeed a prism in this model.
Thinking about something. Do you remember the device that Dory supplied from the academia when you and Miss Columbina? Yeah, okay.
I almost wonder if the idea for the device was conceived based on direct observations of said prism. It would explain how such an ironclad design concept was achieved. It is at once a masterwork of engineering and a groundbreaking application of the Academia's latest elemental theories. I suspect only Lesser Lord Kusanali herself could have devised such an ambitious technology. But back to the energy field before us. If this is pure light realm energy, its relation to elemental energy is one of integration versus division. Or you could say that the former contains the latter. Could this mean that elemental energy can dilute the power of the light realm?
Should we give it a try?
We should.
Ha! It works!
Clear signs of disruption were detected at the periphery of the energy field. This indicates that elemental energy can disturb or even negate the field. Now you try.
All right, here goes. It's working!
Switch to abyssal energy and attack again. No surprises there. Abyssal power drains the energy field to a significantly greater extent. I now feel confident in asserting that the energy field is indeed pure light realm energy, and that elemental energy can dilute it.
But the energy field is huge. How much elemental energy will it take to neutralize it?
We don't have to neutralize it completely. We can try other approaches. That's all for theory. Would you like to continue watching?
So you knew I was here.
Huh? When did you get here?
A while ago. But Albedo sounded like he was working on his thesis defense back there. Back in Sumeru. You can end a person's whole career by interrupting them mid-speech.
Very thoughtful of you. I'm truly touched. Could I ask you to lend me a hand?
With what?
A little test. Try using Animo to unleash a concentrated assault with circular blades, with the goal of breaking through at a singular point.
Nice! This time it tore through the field.
Tremendous. This is a major breakthrough.
Should we go through?
We probably shouldn't risk having mutually antagonistic energies in such close proximity. Durin, you stay here and watch the entrance. Hat Guy and I will go in to investigate.
Sounds sensible to me. Keep your eyes peeled, Durin.
Don't worry, I got this. You two be careful in there. Just give me the signal if you need help and I'll dive right in.
What do you mean, signal?
It's based on a new alchemical concoction I developed last month. When 2 bottles of it are smashed on the ground together, they emit a blinding burst of light. If it comes to that, remember to shield your eyes with your hat.
Glad I asked. Thanks for the heads up.
Like I thought. Beyond a certain distance, we can't see the opening where we came in. Maybe that's to prevent people from escaping.
Sounds like Dottore style to me. Not much has changed. Things are basically the same here as they were before the energy field appeared.
The
wind rises. Surge forth. Squall and fury.
The wind rises. Behold! Quit following me.
They have no heartbeats and they're not breathing. We can only assume they're dead. But there are no visible wounds. Also, there's an animal squatting next to each body.
It's watching us. That's not an animal's gaze.
What are you trying to tell us?
Doesn't seem eager to talk. I guess maybe it's just an animal after all.
Let's keep looking around.
Same situation everywhere. Not a living soul in sight. Just countless bodies with animals standing watch over them.
Well, I think we can safely rule out the possibility that they're all pets.
Is skirting around the topic your way of showing consideration for other people's feelings?
Just being cautious. I don't doubt that you can handle the truth.
Careful.
Please.
This is sound change here.
Please.
Over there, I hear a voice.
The wind rises.
Please. Help us. Please.
What happened here?
I don't know. Suddenly, everyone collapsed. Then my line of sight got lower. I still have some of my senses left. I gotta get out of here.
It looks like there's a huge experiment going on inside this energy field. Maybe each energy field is its own giant experiment. Vile.
He's swapping human minds with those of animals. Even without the other circumstances, this would be an extremely radical experiment. Those people may have lost their sense of selves, but they are not fully animals either. If they were, they would have left. But instead, their instincts are driving them to remain by their dead bodies.
We should go. No sense in sticking around here longer than we need to.
Agreed.
Dude.
Ah, you're back! Everything okay?
We saw some things that take a strong stomach. Otherwise, we're fine.
We should share our findings with the others.
Yes? Who is it?
Miss Nefer, it's me, Albedo. We found a way to break through the energy fields. With enough control, it's possible to tear them open using elemental energy. Also, we managed to take a look inside. Dottore is carrying out his cruel experiments on an immense scale. Any residents who have failed to evacuate in time will likely meet a grisly end.
Sounds like he's living down to our expectations.
Might I ask how things are proceeding on your end?
I'm just about to get started. I'll be in touch once I have a result.
Understood. Stay safe.
I will.
Well, Nefer, I'll link up with you once my tasks are complete.
What makes you think I'd need you to do that?
I'll need it. And considering the way you approach certain matters, I think you'll be better off with me present.
Let's begin. Entering simulation mode. A vast wasteland. Is this the Traveler's inner world? I was expecting something more vibrant, to be honest. Wait, someone's there.
What are you looking at? In that case, I'll look at it with you. I want to know all about everything you've seen and experienced. Is there somewhere I should return to? Or should I stay here and be the hero everyone says I am? I don't dislike my current life. Roaming the land, fighting battles, accomplishing missions, earning a living, looking after Paimon. It's not so bad. I guess the only thing that's missing is that you're not here with me.
This is the conscious layer, which contains a person's true feelings. It is filled with both longing and kindness.
I suppose anyone who lives long enough ends up wishing for someone who can't be there. Maybe it's the only way we can feel truly alive.
Time to delve a little deeper.
Nasha Town is hardly the optimal choice for a place to live, but it has character and a reasonable population density.
What are you trying to say?
Oh, don't be nervous. I was just thinking where might make a good starting point for your journey. Perhaps I should send you further afield. Conria, perhaps.
Conria ceased to exist long ago.
Once again, you fail to understand the possibilities that the Tri-Lune creates. Anything that has existed in the past, I can now recreate. You simply do not wish to see that happen. That might be because you miss your sibling and fear getting answers that you are not ready to learn. But this is not for me to judge. If we are to collaborate, we need to maintain an amicable relationship. In a moment, you will be able to...
Oh no.
What are you... What are you gonna do?
Don't move. Something unwanted has crept into... Oh? Gone as quickly as it came.
Did you save me?
If I hadn't cut the connection, Dottore might have caught you from the other side and destroyed you. This was a good idea, but once is plenty. You were exceptionally brave. Excellent work.
Thanks, but now's not the time for that.
Albedo speaking.
I think I know where he is.
What is this endless darkness? I can't see anything, even though my eyes are wide open. But why? What happened?
Ah, sorry about that. I take it you didn't notice. Just now, a friend of yours took a little peek into your mind.
Could it be Nefer? How did she do it? Did she use something as a medium to connect to me?
Do you think she's aware of your current circumstances? Oh dear. Have I stunned you into silence? I only wanted to slow down your time a little so I could stop your intruder in her tracks. It would have been nice to capture the spy. I must say, I'm finding the ability to adjust the flow of time rather intriguing. The moment you closed your eyes, time seemed to grow impossibly viscous, didn't it? A whole month passed before you opened your eyes again, but only for you. No one else was affected. I dare say this is something only a god can achieve.
Point taken. You've proven once again that you have god-tier powers.
Oh, you misunderstand. This wasn't about proving a point. I was testing things out. I find I learn best by doing, and I have to admit, time is not the easiest dimension to control. I only wanted to make you sleep for a short while, but it ended up lasting a whole month. Clearly some finesse is required to wield the authority over time as I wish. I hope you're not angry with me. It was only a month's discrepancy, nothing too serious. Had I been off by a year, a decade, or even a century, that would have been quite a different story.
You could have frozen me for millions of years. So much for collaboration. You aren't showing much sincerity.
Millions of years? To what end? I wonder if you don't understand humans all that well. They are very pragmatic creatures who understand only that which they can perceive with their senses. If I had you sit here for a week, I imagine people might sympathize. But if I left you here for 100, 1,000, or 10,000 years, the sheer size of that number would cause it to lose all meaning to them. They would not have the capacity to comprehend your suffering, and thus they could not empathize. Unfortunately, while gods do exist in Teyvat, it is ordinary humans that account for most of the population. Their lifespans are so limited, their bodies so fragile. Did you ever really hope that they could begin to understand someone like you? Your long life and unique origins make you fundamentally different from them. How long will it be before they start to treat you like the alien you are? Before you are ostracized, outcast?
Alien?
Even I feel bad for you sometimes. This world has made you into a slave. So many times you have served its will, and not once have the powers that be ever thought to grant you the one simple thing you wish for. You have been treated most unfairly. I can change that. I will grant you special privileges and give you back the status you rightly deserve as a descender.
Back to Columbina.
I've entered the past 3 times at this point, but I still have so many questions. For instance, beyond each point being further back in time than the last, what determines the specific locations at which I can make entry? So far, the common thread linking all 3 scenarios is that the Traveler has been present. But it's more than that. I know I sensed something familiar around him. What was it? I'll keep this question in mind as I carry on.
Humans, you never change. Always trying to use powers you neither comprehend nor control.
This looks like Star Sand Shoal. Was this before Rerir regained his physical form?
You've messed with the cannon again, huh? Sorry, but this round's not gonna go your way.
The cannon. That's right.
I was at Silvermoon Hall and I sensed an abnormal Kuvaki fluctuation coming from Nasha Town. And right after that, came an ominous power emanating from Star Sand Shoal.
My body was once torn into countless pieces and hurled into the swirling chaos of time itself. But even so, my life and will were not extinguished.
I wonder if I could try to prevent his resurrection. But how would I do it? What can I do, here and now?
Traveler! Behind you! Look at that light!
No, I won't make it in time. He's using the Kuvaki shield, like I taught him. Is he going to use it to block the cannon's beam? He's strong. I'm sure he can manage. But the force released when the beam impacts the shield might lead to collateral damage. EC Island. The Frost Moon Scions will be exposed to lethal levels of Kuvaki.
A question, if I may. Kind Miss Columbina. When the cannon's Kuvaki beam was deflected earlier, I saw several bolts of energy streak toward Hisi Island, only to be blocked. Did you also have a hand in that?
Maybe that really was me after all. Well, future me. But I don't know if I have enough power left.
Sigi sato pasa sax, niti ipotuvtos.
There's no time.
Osestikos paratin tiran to risuiku, topia to aithion feraton.
I have to make it. Oh, Frost Moon. Oh, great land. Oh, slumbering moonlight of Nodcry. If you can hear me, if you can sense my call, then please, heed me once more! Did it work?
Hey, wake up. Hey, did you hear me? Columbina, I said wake up now!
Oh, good morning, Sandrone.
It's 3 in the afternoon, actually. And could you kindly not use my quarters as your personal nap room next time?
But I feel so safe here. And your coffee, right? It's so bitter, but it smells lovely.
That's like you were raised by wolves in a forest or something. What did you drink growing up? Grass tea?
The Frost Moon Scions certainly led a more frugal existence than the Fatui.
Then I'll bet you've never eaten one of these before.
It smells delicious.
That's because it's a Fontanian recipe. I had a little free time today, so I made a batch. Rosaline will be here shortly, but if you really can't wait, I guess you can go ahead and... Hey, at least let me finish before you start eating! Did the Frost Moon Scions not teach you basic table manners? Or did the rules not apply to you because you're the high and mighty moon goddess?
These are so tasty.
Of course they are. I made them.
I was worried they might contain traces of machine oil.
What? You know, there's something I've always wanted to ask you. Why did you leave your old home and join the Fatui? I mean, I'm sure their food was awful. But there's gotta be more to it than that.
Well, life there didn't go quite how I imagined.
What were you expecting? You're a god. Your followers are gonna make some demands of you, right? Surely you can just answer a few prayers here and there in return for the free food and drink. How bad can it be?
Well, would you help other people just for free food and drink? The doctor told me that you were created by a great mechanic. Lord something Fisher.
The Lord Artificer. Ugh, some people can't keep their mouths shut.
Oh, Lord Artificer. And didn't he have something to do with the, narcissist?
Narcissenkreuz Ordo.
Yes, that was it. Narcissenkreuz Ordo. So, would you try to fulfill their wishes?
You must be joking. I wouldn't go even if they paid me. I don't even know them.
Exactly. Well, I felt the same way. I did not know the people who made demands of me.
Huh. What do you know? We're on the same page for once. In his later years, Alan did ask me if there was anything I wanted to do. If I had any wishes of my own. Well, I don't. And I'm not in any mood to fulfill someone else's either.
Who's Alain?
He was the... You know what? Never mind. You're not gonna remember. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, neither of us is the self-sacrificing type. Let me ask you this. What sort of place would you like to live in, if you could choose?
A place where people don't ask me for things I cannot give them. Where they don't worship me, or fear me, but just want to chat with me like a normal person. I'd also like the freedom to come and go as I please. And ideally, it would be somewhere with the smell of coffee and snacks.
Not to burst your bubble, but no such place exists in the world. Now, take your snacks and scram.
Did I pass out? Of course. I'm back here again. I dreamed of events from my past. Sandrone. Traveler. I miss you all so much. Back there. I guess I managed to harness all the Kuvaki energy on VII Island. But how did I do it? Time is flowing backwards here. And I can use that familiar power to enter the world of the past. That mystery ally everyone talked about. It was me all along. I can sense that there isn't much more power remaining up ahead. What lies at the end of all of this? Will time keep flowing into the past? And will I ever find my way back? It's getting harder and harder to use my power. I'm no match for the Abyss in this state. I need to avoid the contaminated fragments. Time to go. I wonder where I'll find myself this time. The Final Night Cemetery. This is where Flint's is based.
Or not! How are we supposed to read through this many files?
Difficult, yes. But it is also our most efficient option.
Seems like they're searching for information. Oh, I remember. Flint's and Varga talked about some files on the Wild Hunt. Was this my doing too?
To expose the true intentions of this Rereer, we need to dive into Notcry's history.
Are my actions changing the past? Or are they simply completing a process? Is all of this inevitable? Or am I the one making these decisions? If I choose not to help them now, will it change how things turn out?
Hope we don't land on our heads then.
They're my friends. I can't not help them.
Ghost!
And the other one was... here.
Hey! Another file's moving!
That should do it. Luanatar? You can sense my presence? Wait! Luanatar. So she's that familiar presence I've been sensing all along. She's always been by the Traveler's side. That explains why the Traveler has been there each time I've entered the past. But why Luanatar? Is it because she has a connection to me as the Moon Goddess's familiar? If so, why not any other Kuhenki? That's... I cannot sense any power up ahead. Just a void, stretching out into infinity. This is likely my final chance to enter the past. It's now or never. I have to find a way back. VII Island? How far back in time is this? Where's Luanatar? I can't sense her presence this time.
Seeing Enefa and Aino reunited like that sure was heartwarming.
Traveler, Paimon. No, stay calm. I don't have much power left to change things. I don't even have that much time left here. Think, Columbina. How do I find a way back? A way back... to where? Do I go back to Moon Prayer Night? Or to the future that followed? And if I return in my current state, what will become of me then? Dottoro's actions that day proved that he'd been planning that for a long time. He had already seized the power of 2 moon marrows before capturing me. Even if I managed to get back, how can I fight against him when he wields the Tri-Lune authority? I can't. If I go back like this, I'll be playing right into his hands. I have to find some way of rivaling the power he has usurped. Wait. Time flowing backwards. The Tri-Lune Authority. Does that mean... I think I know what the final destination of this lunar reflection might be. I know what I must do.
Speaking of homes, we must already be close to where the Frost Moon Scions live. The vibe here feels different. Just like the scenery.
But how do I communicate my plan to my friends? Should I write it down here? No. Someone else will see it. I need something with a close connection to me. Something I can use as a medium to tell them what's happened to me in here. Now it makes sense.
sort of breeze blew by, and then the petals suddenly turned into... Huh?
It was I who brought Luanatar into being. I gave up a piece of my own soul to create her. That's why I could sense a familiar power from the moment I entered this space. It also explains why she's been present in every past location that I've entered. Because we have a deep connection.
Hey there! What's your name?
And the reason why there are no more gates to the past after this point is that Luanatar hadn't been born then. No wonder I sensed the trace of a blessing when we first met. But I still didn't recognize the soul hidden within you. Back then, I was just a little lost dove. I had yet to become Columbina Hyposelenia.
Go on now. We've got stuff to do. Best you find someone else to hang out with.
Hey, you scared it off.
I'll be counting on you. Remember to stay by the traveler's side, guide him, and help him in my stead. Oh, and bring him to the garden where the moon prayer blossoms grow. There's a little lost dove there who will need his help. Go on. You too. Go and live your story. As for mine must go in a different direction.
Okay, please give me a chance to... No, it's gonna go straight into it. Bro, damn it.
How would you like to experience the thrill of never being held accountable for your actions? You could crush people like ants without consequence, or tear off their heads or limbs as you please. Believe me, such a life is but one small step away.
What point is he trying to make? Freedom? But the freedom to kill? To do evil and get away with it? Why would you offer me that?
The creation of a world is the ultimate scientific experiment. I have taken my research to the highest level, where I shall be not just a god, but also a servant to many sacred spirits. I shall heed the truth and perform holy deeds. A god's laboratory is the perfect playground, but it needs the right occupant to explore its full potential. Mortals are found everywhere one looks. Not so with Descenders. I'd prefer my first guest to be a distinguished individual such as yourself. And I know you could make the most of the opportunities it offers.
So the condition for entering the new world is to take innocent lives. And the same dilemma that Rerir once faced. Could I really bring myself to kill others for my own benefit? Rerir did. And look where it got him.
Have you made up your mind?
I can't do it. Your playground is no place for me. You're putting your hopes in the wrong person. But we both know I'm not quite the hero you say I am either. I have my own reasons for the journey I'm on. And they aren't all selfless.
You've grown a lot since we last met. But there are still things you are unwilling to compromise on. This will only hinder you. Why don't I lower my requirements a little as a gesture of goodwill? I'll give you a little time to learn to be a less noble soul. That'll make things much easier for you.
I really doubt I could live that sort of life.
And yet you already sound less defiant than a moment ago. The benefits appeal to you because you can read the signs of the times. Why don't we return to my research facility? Your last visit was so rushed. There is much that I have yet to show you. Now to that question,
Heroes don't attack from behind. Guess I'm no hero.
This is most disappointing. Now then. A new face. Interesting.
Okay, that should be the end of Act 7. Oh, great, we're back to narrating him again. Hat Guy, how did you get here?
You're still gonna call me Hat Guy after that, huh?
You came all this way to save me?
I didn't see anyone else in there who needed saving.
Thank you so much. Fair point. You just caught me by surprise. Thank you. Wait, you're injured?
It's nothing. I'll be fine. Why are you looking at me like that? Is it that shocking that I'd come to your rescue?
I'm more shocked that you caught the doctor off guard.
I owed you a favor back in Sumeru. Now we're even. Distracting Dottore was tough. I won't lie. He's not gonna fall for the same trick twice. That was my one shot. I'd hoped to use it to take him out. Ugh. I never wanted to obliterate someone more than I do right now. Dottore doesn't recognize me. But his segments were originally made based on an analysis of my operational principles. I expect it's only a matter of time before he figures out what I am.
So Dottore doesn't recognize Wanderer because he deleted himself from Irminsul. Did he really miss his only chance for revenge by saving me?
Why the long face? Hey, I'm not blaming you, okay? And I'm not complaining either. Rescuing you and killing Dottore are equally important goals. Everyone would be pretty stuck without you. It's best you live to fight another day.
How are you holding up? Are you all right? Hat Guy said to put safety first, so we agreed to run as far away as we could after leaving the energy field, and only meet up once it was safe.
You don't look injured. It seems that Dottore didn't do anything to you.
Yeah, I'm fine, guys. Thanks.
All right. Rescue operation complete. Let's head back. There's a lot more work to be done before this is over.
Okay, Act 8 has started, but... oh gosh, it's gonna keep going through it, isn't it? Alright, we're gonna have to exit this as soon as we get a chance. But I'm gonna consider this part of Act 7, so... yeah.
Understood. I will bear the Tsaritsa's decree in mind. I don't see what's so awesome about it, though. Does he really think everyone else is as immature as him? I'm not stooping to Tartaglia's level.
I thought you might say that. How's your progress?
Quite promising, actually. That alchemist Albedo gave me a few ideas. Remember how I asked you to look up some files for me? That stuff on the Nazistenkreuz Institute. Renee de Petrichor and Jakob Ingold. Elangiotan despised Renee's theories and methods, but he never managed to come up with better alternatives either. So I adopted some of Renee's ideas.
I thought Alain was like a father to you. He and Renee were mortal enemies, were they not?
And what would you say if Lenny and his friends one day learned something useful from someone you utterly detested?
I would applaud them for it. That would mean that they have surpassed me.
Hmm. For all we know, Elangiotan might have thought the same thing. Not that it matters, though. He's dead, and I'm alive. So it's my call to make. Once you die, it doesn't matter how great you were in life. Only the living get to decide what happens next.
Hey, come on out. They're back.
Huh? You're back? And your head's still screwed on? And you still have all your limbs?
What does it look like? Way to keep your composure, madam.
Excuse you. I am perfectly composed.
Hey everyone, I'm back.
Glad you're okay. Yes, it's a huge relief.
I'm sorry for making you all worry.
Worry? Oh, yeah, right. You think we, the Fatui, were worried about you?
We were worried sick.
Hey!
The Traveler and I were already friends. You are free to join this mission in whatever capacity you please. Much like your tea parties.
It's a laugh a minute with you guys.
I must say, I was quite surprised when Mr. Albedo told me he would need no additional aid.
We discussed this on our way back as well. I am rarely so unequivocal, but in this case, we had full confidence in Hat Guy.
He said he knew what he was doing. Albedo and I pretty much had to just wait outside on standby. Meanwhile, Hat Guy broke into the energy field and rescued the Traveler solo.
Yeah, it seems a little bit contrived.
You didn't have to mention that.
Well, I'm thoroughly impressed. You are a force to be reckoned with, Hat Guy.
Is he back? Is he really back?
Paimon!
Traveler! It's really you!
It's really me, Paimon. I'm back.
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon missed you so much!
You can finally breathe easy, Paimon.
It's great to have you back in one piece! Oh, Paimon's been having nightmares the whole time you were gone! Look at them. You know, once you reach my age, there's nothing better than watching a misty-eyed reunion between friends.
It's nothing. Same goes when you get to my age, too. I bet Ino and Anefa would be tearing up as well if they were here.
Varka, I'm not sure Anefa can cry.
Oh, yeah, good point. Hey, your eyes are looking a little red and puffy. Come here. Let's hug it out.
What a weird line.
What? Ew, no! No, thank you. You're not my dad, okay? Knock it off!
Everyone, I'm sorry for all the trouble I caused you. But the silver lining is, I didn't come away from this ordeal empty-handed. While I was being held captive, I learned a lot about Dottoro's current capabilities, and what he plans to do with them. Allow me to explain.
The three moon goddesses were even more powerful than we imagined. No wonder Dottore believes himself to be equal to the gods. Maybe even superior.
Utter blasphemy.
While everyone was gone, Nefer and I made an interesting discovery. And I believe Miss Sandrone has something to share too. Ma'am, perhaps you could do the honors?
Called it. Getting rid of a pesky troublemaker like her is like trying to clean up after a crumbly cake. It always comes back to haunt you.
Columbina's alive. I knew she wouldn't give up.
Our next step is to find a way to bring her back.
A place where time flows backwards, with no destination in sight. Surely it must have been created for a specific purpose. But I fear the answers are buried deep into VII's history, held by great powers beyond our reach.
It sounds like she's on a specific path through time, just traveling in the opposite direction to us. The question is, where does that path lead? Or will it keep going to infinity?
We considered that question as well. Strictly speaking, time is not infinite.
Indeed not. Every road has an end.
Nicole! You sure love quietly sneaking in mid-conversation.
I do, in fact. It's something I've always done at our mages' tea parties. Quiet, mysterious, and persuasive.
What the hell was that?
You wonder what lies at the end of her road. Well, just as the world has a beginning and an end, so too does time. And so, the end of the road is the moment that Teyvat was born. But where Miss Columbina will end up along this road, that depends on where this particular river of reverse time began.
What about the original moons and the moon goddesses? Do they have a beginning too?
All things do. In the beginning, no moons adorned the sky. It was the Dragon King Nibelung who raised the 3 moons into the heavens, and thus were the moon goddesses born. They were shadows of the planet, born to wield Nibelung's authority and oversee the world on his behalf. They were extensions of his will, manifestations of his majesty. But then one day, they disappeared just as suddenly as they had once been brought into being. Nobody knew where they had gone.
Like I thought, no more paths back to reality have emerged since. But how can I be sure that I'm going the right way without scenes from reality to keep me on track? I can't even be sure of how long I've been walking for. The further I travel, the less stable this space becomes. There are even moments where I can sense something that feels like abyssal energy. They can just materialize out of thin air. I have to keep my wits about me.
Okay, since we have control, if you leave and re-enter, you may not have to experience. You may have to experience all the story content again to continue. Okay, I wish to leave. All right, so this is Act 8 is starting. It's already started. Yeah, we're making pretty good time. Act 8 is, it looks like it's shorter, but we don't know how long the dialogue is going to be, so. All right, we made it pretty far. Yeah. See you next time when we run Act 8 and finally catch up on the Icon Quest stuff.